Hello and welcome back to our podcast, Horror Hunters. Hope you're all having a lovely day. My name is Kristian, and today we're going to have our talk about the Russian sleep experiment, and for that we have three very special guests. The first is Felix, welcome to you.
Hi.
Søren, welcome to you.
Thanks.
Lucas, welcome to you.
Pleased to be here.
Let us just drop right into it with a small resume, as we always do here on the Horror Hunters.
Yeah. The Russian sleep experiment took place in the late 1940s, where Soviet researchers had put 5 prisoners of war into a small dark chamber isolated from the outside world. The researchers have given the prisoners food and water that could last 30 days. Inside the chamber, the researchers had also put a gas, which made the prisoners unable to sleep. And since they wasn't very available in Soviet Russia at that time, they had only put microphones inside to listen to what would happen. During the first 5 days, the prisoners grew increasingly paranoid. After the 5th day, the prisoners started crying and complaining about how they had lived their life. Then suddenly, on the 9th day, one of the prisoners starts screaming without stop, and the researchers could also hear that he was running back and forth for 3 hours straight. Then he stopped. Doctors later came to the conclusion that the patient had physically torn his vocal cords. More strange things happened, and then suddenly every voice stopped. There was silence in the chamber until the 14th day, where the researchers tried to contact the prisoners. The only response they got was, "We no longer want to be freed." Special troops opened the chamber, and on the 5th day, midnight of course, the prisoners had literally become monsters. Instead of eating the food, they had ripped off their own flesh and eaten that. And do you want to finish the story, Lucas?
Yes. After the special troops enters the chamber, the prisoners started attacking since they let off the gas so the troops wouldn't get affected. In that episode, one of the 5 patients gets shot and dies later in hospital. The other 4 patients are rescued, to say so, and put into a hospital in which the 2 who couldn't speak anymore because they had torn their vocal cords were put together, and the 2 others who were still able to speak were put together. They then proceeded to do surgery on them. The patients had not only eaten their flesh but physically ripped out their organs, so only guts and vital organs like lungs and heart were left. Other organs like kidneys were left on the ground, not touched, not damaged, just put out and placed. What happens next is that the 2 prisoners who weren't able to speak, they are put under paralysis but won't stop moving. One of them seems to go into brain death. His brainwaves simply stop for a few seconds, and then he returns back to life, and he does that continuously. After he does that for a few hours, he simply goes brain dead, and his heart stops simultaneously, and he dies. So does the other. The other 2 patients, one of them simply dies of the injuries of having their organs ripped out, and the last one, he's the only one left. He can speak, of course. There are a few doctors left, and they want to ask a few last questions. what they basically come to the conclusion of is that they want to send one of the special troops in together with the last patients in a last-ditch effort to see the results of the experiment. To which the special troops officer shoots the doctor and then asks the last patient, "What are you? I must know," he says. The patient simply smiles and says, "Have you forgotten so easily? We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be free at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go to the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread." His heart then stopped. I'm sorry, his heart didn't stop. He got shot by the troops officer, and his heart then stopped, and he dies as he simply says, "So nearly free." And that's basically the conclusion to the story.
Fantastic. What an awful story. But what really makes this story scary, because it really just sounds like a splatter and people dying and just like people having fun with sleeping, I guess. What do you think of that, Son?
Well, I think what makes the story most scary is this sort of, you know, old kind of experiment
Yeah.
atmosphere. You know, like there have also been stories about Nazi experiments. It kind of has the same creepy atmosphere as those, and also just the fact that he seems to speak of something that is the last patient. He seems to speak of something that is hidden deep inside us humans. Something, well, more something.
More sinister.
Yeah, more sinister. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that just to think to think that we are also evil is kind of scares us. That's
Yeah.
what makes the story most scary in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the same. It's like really disgusting, and also it's quite realistic in some kind of ways. Like we can all like paint a picture in our head. Then
Yeah,
we
There's
can all paint a
pictures
picture
of
of it in our head. That's the most like scary part of it.
yeah. The writer actually said that the story was based on a true story.
Yeah.
But
I heard that too, and I started to bit. I'm not quite sure, but what I understood was in Nazi Germany, they took in Soviet prisoners of war.
Yeah.
They conducted basically the same experiment where they wanted them to stay awake for as long as they could.
Yeah.
Of course,
exactly.
not using any gas, but using other things such as torture and electroshock therapy. It didn't lend the same results at all. As you would expect, the patients just die from exhaustion.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
makes
this
sense.
is, I think, this story is a very good take on a almost alternate result to this study.
Yeah. But just to get back to the office thingies and all that kind of stuff, which elements does the writer really use in the story? Because there must be like some kind of thing that he uses to make us feel scared or unsatisfied. What do you think, Felix?
First of all, this
Or Søren?
story is very detailed, very in detail.
Yeah.
And it makes it seem much more real.
Yeah, it's really detailed. It's like there's a lot of text in it actually, and they
Yeah,
really
it's a-
describe it
it's-
well. They really describe it
it's a
well.
it's a really long story, and we had Lucas and I had a hard time, trying to explain it in a short time because it's really long, and I
Yeah.
think that's one of the biggest elements the writer uses.
Yeah, the length and the detail, definitely.
Yeah, and also the part as Søren said earlier, that it's something deep inside us, and it's something we can relate to, I think.
Yeah,
So
exactly. But do we think that the story is based on a true story?
no, I don't think so.
No.
Loosely,
Well, yeah.
very loosely.
Yeah,
It's just like it sounds all realistic because you won't really survive with getting your kidneys and liver torn out.
In reality, the story is very unrealistic. We didn't mention it in the resume, but at one point when they got to the hospital, they of course had to be restricted, to which one of the patients who weighed no more than maybe 40 kilograms could even fight against a 200-pound special forces officer. And that's not even talking about having half his flesh removed and his organs missing.
But what really made me think of this story as unreal was the last quote that the last patient says. It's something deep inside of us. It seems too good to be true.
Yeah,
it does. It really does.
It really does.
But if you look at it, that understanding that it's a fictional story, I think it is very clever writing.
It's really very clever writing, and it's not even like a book or anything. It's just
No.
story on the internet. To ask you, Søren, what really happens if you stay awake for 15 days in real life?
I think you just die.
No,
I think your brain would just sit down, wouldn't it?
I actually know. I don't know what happens if you stay awake for 15 days, but the world record is actually close. It's 11 days, and yeah, it's. I know it was really hard to accomplish, but he didn't die of it, and after 18 hours of sleep, he was quite normal again.
18 hours, that's a lot.
So I think 15 days is possible if you have the right mindset. But I think it's really hard. But I don't think you die of it. I actually don't.
Well, there's studies saying that, but you need sleep to like clean out a lot of bad proteins in your brain. And
I'm pretty sure you take brain damage.
You take a lot of brain damage from it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would have thought the same, but they checked the guy who made who made the record after I think it was 3 months, and they couldn't find any problems. Yeah,
no injuries. No. Yeah.
Exactly. So
that's just probably insane. He's just
that's interesting.
inhuman. That's really interesting, but yeah.
Yeah, there could be many answers to that, but
no, there could definitely.
Something that fascinated me about this story was that the monsters, quote unquote, are very unique. I think it's not quite anything like I've seen before.
No,
it's the monster is us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're human, right? You will say, yeah.
Well, yeah, but they are just on the border. On the line from being human to monster.
Yeah, just on the edge. Yeah.
Some of the illustrations that I saw on the internet, of course, made after the story to replicate it, quite horrific. I think there's this one picture with this man, no hair, skin totally folded and large teeth. Horrifying, I think.
Yeah, it is
much different than zombies because it's so much more human.
Yeah. But if you have to again take this to like a real life perspective, what happens to these patients, and if they actually survived, and could this actually happen in real life? Would it be possible? Just going back to that this man actually this man like surviving for 11 days or 14 days or whatever it was. Could it be possible to stay alive for this amount of period that they did?
As I said, nobody knows, but the record is 11 days, so why not 15 days?
Yeah, I remember in the text they actually said that they tested their blood, and they said that the oxygen level in their blood were increasingly higher than normal. No, it is really, really higher than normal. And that also makes the story more realistic, because that could happen. I mean...
Yeah, we have to end soon, by the way. Time's almost up.
Yeah. Last question.
Yeah,
Um,
that's. I thought that was interesting. It kind of goes hand in hand with the supernatural abilities
yeah,
the patients get.
yeah,
Mhm.
Um,
And to ask to one
yeah,
of
I don't know. Is it possible to stay awake for 15 days? Sure. Probable. I don't think so.
possible
If
not.
we could invent a gas that could make you stay awake for an uh, unlimited amount of time, it would surely be interesting to try out, but very inhumane.
Yeah, very
Mm.
inhuman.
Yeah.
Just to jump and run us off. Are there monsters in the story like any other monsters that we know about today? Like, is there anything other like it? Is it totally unique, or have we actually heard about something similar to this in the
I
fictional
think
world?
zombies are the closest thing we're gonna come to this, but
Yeah,
otherwise not really now.
yeah, I think
Mm.
zombies. Yeah, because they look like zombies. The pictures that have been posted about it. It also sounds like zombies as well. Really.
I never heard audio of it.
No, I haven't really either. Would be would be.
So
It's not as scary, but they could actually be done like a fictional movie on it. It could be actually fun to watch.
Yeah, they have made a movie, a short movie with the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
I think we addressed everything now, and we have talked about pretty much everything about the story. So we'll see you on the next week of the Horror Hunters. It's been
bye.
Nonne. This is Christian, Søren, Felix, and Lucas. We are signing off.